Hello! In this video, we are going to talk about this house right here and all the block piles surrounding it. So like all this stuff on the outside of the house, right? We're going to start with the block piles on the outside of the house, right? Starting with this hay bale stack. So basically for the hay bale stack, the first thing is notice that there's a total of 5 hay bales on top of the stack. So if you see 6 hay bales on top of the stack, usually it'll be like a rectangle of hay bales on the top. This would be fake. You also shouldn't see a hay bale that goes way too high up, like this, right? That would also be fake. Right, the next thing to know about the stack is how many hay bales are on each side. Notice on this side we have 2 hay bales in a row. In the front we have 2 hay bales in a row. But on the other sides, right, to the right of it, we should only have 1 hay bale, and in the back we only have 1 hay bale. So basically, if you ever see 2 hay bales in a row in the back like this, it's fake. Or of course, again, two in a row in the back. It's also squared off, that's how you know it's fake. Right? Or if you see 2 in a row on the right side of the hay bale stack like this, that would be fake. The other thing you might see is a hay bale in this specific slot. So that'll sometimes happen as well. And so that's basically it for the hay bale stack. So now, we're going to go over to this anvil stack that's basically leaning up against the house. Right? For this anvil stack, basically, notice how there actually is a square of anvils here. Right? You should never see an anvil to the right of that square of anvils. So like for instance like this, it's fake. You also shouldn't see an anvil on top of the square of anvils like this, right? If you see something like this, it's fake. Right? Or if you sort of see the bow tie structure like this, notice how you see the bow tie, that would be fake. You also shouldn't see it squared off like this. Like notice how it's squared off right here? That would be fake. Also, one notable feature is notice that there is in fact a staircase of 3 anvils there. Okay, so then next we have this bookshelf stack. The bookshelf stack basically comes after this melon stack, right? You have this bookshelf stack. Now, as for the bookshelf stack, the most important spot to know about is if there's a bookshelf hiding in this hole, right? If you see a bookshelf in this hole, then it's fake. That's the most important spot to know about. Right? Notice how, if there's like a bookshelf in the front like this, notice how it looks symmetrical in the front of the stack. This would be fake. Notice how there's 2 diagonal like this, so you shouldn't see where that diagonal structure is affected like this. That would be fake. There's 2 spots right here the bookshelf could go, so like in either one of these 2 spots it's fake. That's basically it for the bookshelf stack, right? And now, we're going to move on to the stack after that, which is this TNT stack. As for the TNT stack, right, one thing is you should never see a TNT leaning up against the boundary of the map, like in either one of these spots, right? Typically right here is the spot that you should expect. Right, and that's basically it. Right, and another thing is, notice again, there is actually a real square of TNT right here. Another spot you should expect is if you see a TNT right here in this specific slot. You should also never see 2 TNTs in a row on this side of the stack like that, right? That would also be fake. The other thing, notice how there's a total of 2 TNTs on top of the stack, so if you see 3 TNTs on top of the stack, for instance like this, then that would be fake. And that's pretty much it for the TNT stack. Right? There's not much other block piles on the edge of this house. We do have this flower pot stack like here, right here. I really don't have any idea what it looks like. I mean, I guess, I don't even know. I can't even begin to describe it. Right? But, if you have 6 flower pots in a row like that, it's fake. If you have a flower pot in this slot, right, notice how it basically forms a really large grouping of flower pots, sort of, that would be fake. Right? Or if you see a sort of a square of flower pots like that. Basically just like that, for the flower pots. Going over here with the cakes. The cakes is interesting, because basically it's just a total of 6 cakes. So I guess if you see, again, I don't even know how to begin to describe the structure. Sorry, I can't help it. Basically, if you see a cake, that would be fake. But it basically is a total of 6 cakes. As for the note block stack, you typically don't find hiders in the note block stack. Notice how you have the letter T on top, so you can kind of notice that structure. There are a few holes, but you can't really sort of find a good way to memorize them, I guess. But basically, there's like the letter L here. Or if you see a square of note blocks right here. This is probably something that you would encounter with Radar Hunter, right? Also a note block in this specific spot. Sorry, it's just so funny. That's basically it for the note blocks. As for these melons, like leaning up against the leaves, They're really not that important. You'll probably just encounter them with Radar Hunter. Usually I don't even worry about them. This bookshelf stack, honestly, you will pass by it on the route from Hunter Spawn to Hider Spawn. Like, you'll literally run over it. But, so you should be familiar with some of the spots. Like, for instance, like if you see a bookshelf in this hole, it's fake. Right? A bookshelf in this slot, it's fake. And again, a bookshelf in this slot was also fake. Right? Typically, you will not find bookshelves hiding here, so it becomes really difficult to remember since you don't really learn it that much. Don't really worry about it too much. For these flower pots, it basically looks like an animal, right? I think of this as sort of like the head. Like, basically, you see 4 flower pots in a row like this, it's fake. I think of this part as the legs, right? You should never see it a complete rectangle of flower pots like this. That would be fake. The other spot that's common is 5 flower pots in a row. And so that's basically it for the flower pots. The flower pot stack is really common, right? Not really common, but you'll run into it every single time you're heading towards Hider Spawn, so really important that you know that. This one's a little less important, right? The TNT stack, because obviously you don't encounter it as you're going from Hider Spawn to Hider Spawn. It's like all the way over there. But you should still be familiar that when you're passing by it with radar, right? One spot is like this hole right here, has 2 possible spots a TNT could hide. Notice how there's a diagonal TNT on top. So like if you ever see that diagonal structure affected, like for instance like this, right? The diagonal structure is affected if the TNT goes in one of those spots. Right. The other thing to notice is that you have a slot right here. This spot you'll sometimes see with radar as well, right? It just looks really unnatural after you look at it for like a really long time playing the game. So that's basically it for the TNT stack. We've talked about all the block piles surrounding this building. So now we're ready to go over to the inside of the actual building, right? This is basically what the downstairs of the building looks like. You got a pretty good amount of rooms, right? This is one of the openings. You do have an opening over here by the stairs. You have a tiny room in here. Right, you also have a room in here with a door over here. I'll make a whole separate video on all the roots, right? I love that word. The roots of everywhere and everything. So that'll be a different video. But basically for this room, basically you have 3 flower pots, 3 cakes. Really easy to memorize, just remember the number 3. Right? If you ever see any more than that, for instance, I think what I usually see with radar is a cake or a flower pot at that other side of the couch. Then that would be fake. You don't have to worry about the bookshelves, they're not that common. For these note blocks, you'll encounter every single time you pass by with radar. Those 1, 3, 3, 2. Really easy to memorize. So the typical spot you'll see is either like a 3x3 square of note blocks or a note block next to it like that, right? That's basically it. And you got obviously 1 flower pot on top of this table. If you see 2 flower pots, it's fake. For the melons, notice how there's like a gap between the melon stack and the lone melon. If there's a melon specifically filling that gap, like this, it's fake. You should also never see 2 melons on top of the stack either. That's basically it. This room, you barely ever see any hiders going, so we're not going to worry about it. Now we go up these stairs. For the roots, I like that word, you got this opening right here. I like that. That's good. So now, let's go into this little room, which is the bathroom. We have a spot against the wall, a cauldron could hide, so 3 in a row like that, it's fake. We'll sometimes see flower pots hiding inside the shower. That'll sometimes happen, right? Going over here, this is actually a really common spot to see a bookshelf hiding specifically right here. So you should know that. Notice from here, you can actually get on top of the building, right? So we'll talk about that later. Going up these stairs, we have yet another room. This is what I call the attic of this building. We have two stacks, right? The furnace stack and the bookshelf stack. I'll start with the bookshelf stack because it's actually more common to find them in the bookshelf stack than the furnace stack. This is an especially common spot to see a bookshelf hide, so you should definitely know this spot and this spot right here, right? Definitely know this spot as well. These are like the 2 most important spots to know about. Obviously you can memorize other spots if you want to, but now we have the furnace stack. Notice how there's a slot right here a furnace could hide. Right, if you see a furnace in that slot, then it's fake. That's typically what you're going to see with the furnaces, right? Typically nothing else. obviously you'll encounter other spots with radar. That's basically it. Obviously you can get on top of the building. I like that word. Obviously you can get on top of the building. You can sometimes find infestors inside these flower pots. Most of the time you will have non-ideal hiders hiding on top of the building, so be prepared for that. Or be prepared for non-ideal conditions. I like that. I like saying that. Basically this is it, right? Just the top of the building. Notice how you can find hiders like in this specific spot. Even though they don't even become solid, they'll hide there. There's also another room right here underneath here, as you can see. Typically, you'll just find non-ideal hiders in here, not like actual hiders in these block piles, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, again, this is where this opening was from where we were before, so basically you can get on top of the roof from here, right? Typically, you're going to find non-ideal hiders hiding up here. And so that is basically it for this building. One other thing I should have mentioned was that pigs are in this location, right? Just like how in the previous video, pigs spawn behind, like basically in this region right here, pigs also spawn near the TNT stack over there, so be prepared to see a fake pig. Or sheep if they roam all the way that far. And so that's basically it for this video, right? We've talked basically about every possible hiding spot you could see over here. Maybe not every possible hiding spot, but like you know what I mean, like all the spots that I like memorizing. So that's basically it for this video. Oh, another thing I guess I should mention is that you'll sometimes find hiders on top of the stone, like literally like really high up somehow. I don't even know how. But basically that'll sometimes happen, and that's honestly I think I'm done here, so that's pretty much it for this video.